What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
It's a busy and stressful time of year, but all times of the year can be stressful for caregivers. While we can't always change that, we can manage that stress a bit better by using creativity for self-care in almost any environment. Specifically, we're talking about art for non-artist caregivers and their loved ones. It's the process of de-stressing that counts, not the result. If you're ready for some stress relief, stay with us. We'll be right back.
I used to think healthcare was all the same until I discovered peace at home. Now I can come to a place to stay active, see the doctor, or just enjoy a meal with my friends. Plus, having a team of people that help me make sense of my options gives me the support I need to stay in charge of my own health. It's been life-changing.
With Pace at Home, we offer a unique lineup of personalized care and a caring staff that feels like family, all under one roof. Call today and discover a community of caring delivered at your own pace.
Welcome. I'm your host, Karen Summey with ACAPcommunity and an active family caregiver. If you're listening to our live broadcast, today is Friday, December 5, 2025 at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We're delighted to have you with us. Today, we're talking about relieving stress for both caregivers and possibly those in their care and other loved ones as well. We hope you'll give this quick and easy activity a try, even if you think you can't. Today, we're talking about art for non-artist caregivers and their loved ones. In formal terms, this is about art therapy, but we'll be talking about it in a more informal way today. My guest today is Dr. Angel Duncan, a registered art therapist with over 20 years of experience. Dr. Duncan holds a PhD in psychology, specializing in gerontology, along with dual master's degrees in marriage and family therapy and art therapy. She teaches art therapy for Alzheimer's and related dementias through the Bringing Art to Life curriculum, a national course elective in higher education. And she founded and co-developed Arts in Mind at the Yale University Art Gallery, a program for people living with dementia and their caregivers. Dr. Duncan speaks globally on diverse topics including mental health, creativity, dementia care, and Alzheimer's disease pathways. She currently serves as Program Manager of Clinical Trials and Education for Life Molecular Imaging, a company of Lantheus in PET scan imaging detection for Alzheimer's disease and other neurological disorders, prostate cancer, and cardiac disease. She serves as Executive Arts Director for Cognitive Dynamics Foundation and sits on their Executive Board of Directors. Welcome, Angel.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Angel, as an emerging artist myself, I find such peace in sitting down and just doodling for any period of time. While I do some work in fine art, I find simple doodles and mark making so stress relieving and relaxing. When I'm drawing anything at all, the rest of the world sort of falls away, and then my whole attitude changes when I get back to my daily duties. So while I know there's a very formal process for art therapy, today we want to talk more about the type of creativity that people can create on the fly in a care environment or really almost anywhere they happen to be without the need for a therapist to be present with them. So could we start by talking a little bit about the benefits of art in a caregiving environment? What does that look like exactly?
Yes, so the benefits are pretty much exactly what you just talked about and what it does for your health. It's funny because oftentimes we're thinking of creativity, even just doodling, as a mindless, oh, this is just a mindless activity. And actually it's the opposite. It's a mindful activity. There's been a lot of really interesting research in the science behind it. It's a boost to just calm the brain down, kind of being present-centered. It's been known to help improve mood, and it also helps with creative thinking and problem solving. You're actually tapping into, these default modes of network systems in the brain, where you're kind of in that daydreaming, imaginative state, and that's where things start to kind of click. So the benefits are just so enrichful. They're enrichful for everybody, but especially caregivers who are, taking on twice, sometimes three times the load of having this stress level. And it only takes just a minute just to find that space. I can't tell you how many backs of envelopes, napkins, and receipts that I have
Exactly.
that I will just doodle. I'll do some words will just come out, and poetry or symbols, or I'll just do a squiggle drawing. But you're actually, firing the brain up in a positive way that's leading you to a more improved state of mind. That's a lot more calming. So I encourage caregivers and anyone to just take that minute out. See a receipt, grab it, see what happens.
Well, you captured my attention right away because I've always described what I do as mindless. And for you to say mindful, then that's very much different. And I can see where it starts to make a difference for people who are trying to relieve stress and just have a momentary distraction of some kind. So that's great. Is there a good time of day to make art? And especially with your loved ones, does time matter somehow?
I get that question a lot. As I was working in care communities for people living with dementia, typically kind of that sweet spot is mid-morning. After you've been awake, you had some breakfast, got some coffee, tea in you, and usually it's sometime between 10 and 11, right before lunch. If you're working with a loved one with a type of dementia, that's usually that sweet spot. And because after lunch, we all just want to take a nap. Just want to take that rest. But there have been some studies showing that the later afternoon, like right before sundown, especially those who might be sundowning, doing some kind of a creative, soft, calming activity like art can actually help improve agitation, diminish agitation, improve mood, and just relax, that relaxing state. So that could be in the later afternoon as well. For caregivers, it's any time that you're able to get that in. And it's important that you are making time for yourself to get that in.
Excellent. Can you give any advice or tips for the caregiver who might think to themselves, I don't have time to make art?
That comes up a lot. I've been at 2 caregiver symposiums in the past 2 weeks, and that actually came up in the conferences. And I always tell my clients when I'm working with them or I'm speaking at a support group is that you have to prioritize, and taking care of you is a priority. And I've had people say, I'm sitting there doing this art because I told myself I would do it, and I'm feeling silly. I have so many more important things I need to be doing. I could be going by the store, the post office, I need to go to the bank, but it's creating it as a meeting. You're busy, yes, and that is a meeting. And it is true, you are having a meeting with yourself, because you need that mind-body connection. Is very real. So it's just carving out the time and building up. I've often have caregivers will tell me they feel guilty. I'm sitting here doodling and making art when I should be doing something else, and you have the shoulds. And I always say, don't should on yourself. So it's like, prioritize. Start at just taking that 1 minute as you think of a bathroom break or a water break. Just try it and see how you feel, and build up to that, minute, 5 minutes to an hour, even half a day, taking that respite, but just, trying it, but putting those emotions aside of guilt and the silliness, and allow yourself to have fun in that moment, because there's a lot of magic happening up here in this brain when you're getting into that creative mode, and that becomes a
Exactly right.
priority.
And that's the one thing that I'm always focused on, is that somehow, no matter how bad my day may be, no matter how much stress I may be under, no matter what's going on, when I start to just put a pen or a pencil to paper or a paintbrush, suddenly that's where my focus goes, and I'm not thinking about all those other terrible things that are going on around me. It just kind of goes away for that short little period of time. And so it's very helpful to me when I do that. So first of all, how do you encourage caregivers to make art? And then how do you get them engaged with their care partner or their care recipient to also make art with them? And when is that a good idea?
So
Under
the two,
what circumstances?
yeah. So your first question is when does a caregiver make the time?
How do you encourage them to get
It's
into it?
well, a lot of times we have to be in our own cheerleader and our own advocate, because it's easy to tell somebody, oh, you should be doing this, and they're like, yeah, but you really have to have that kind of discipline in yourself to say, you know what, I am going to try this out. But to get encouraged, one is just basically that reminder of the importance of taking care of yourself. And this is a part of self-care. And as cliche as this sounds, when we go on airplanes and they tell you put your mask on first before you can help somebody else, that is what you're doing. This is a form of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And even you mentioned earlier how, you're in that moment and you're not thinking about all these stressful and all these things in that moment, and then you go back to it. But there's a key is that when you are being creative and being in that moment, you're actually able to better problem solve moving forward. So hopefully not feeling as intense or triggered when you're going back to some of the chaos that might be happening, but being able to manage it better.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage caregivers to think about that, just that having that opportunity with self-care, and then working with loved ones. So many times, especially for those that living with the type of dementia, they'll say, oh, I can't do art, or I don't have time, I have a doctor's appointment, or I'm going to be leaving soon. So we'll say, well, that'll happen in just a moment. Why don't we do something? Why don't we come over here and do something for while we're waiting? And that's
Mm-hmm.
when I would pull out the paper and pen and let's do this together.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say, hey, do you want to do art? Most of the time you're going to say no, or that's what you're going to hear. And so it's a matter of just this gentle coaxing. Hey, let's do something fun for a minute. Let's do this together, or do this with me. When you're doing it together and you're saying, do it with me, oftentimes that's, okay, I'll do it for you, and having this bonding moment.
Mm-hmm. What about the person who says, I have no idea what to draw?
Those are, I would say, to just have fun in that process. Think about whatever comes to mind and
Mm-hmm.
just doodle it. Oftentimes, too, for those that may be the perfectionist, I'll have them just draw a scribble,
Mm-hmm.
Doodle scribble. And then I want you to see what you can find a picture in there. Like, when you look at the clouds and you can see shapes in the clouds or an image.
Mm-hmm.
What image do you see in that scribble? And then enhance the image. I
Mm-hmm.
did it for myself the other day. I was sitting at a hotel when I was doing, I was getting ready to present at a conference and trying to calm myself down. And I kind of did the scribble drawing and looked at it and found like a couple of, like found an ice cream cone in it and a happy face, and just kind of enhance those images. I also have other people that are the perfectionists that say I can't get it right. I will have them use their less dominant hand. So no matter what, it's not gonna come out the way you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You're using your less dominant hand, and try what that feels like.
That's a great
So
strategy.
matter of letting that perfectionist go, because oftentimes we get this image stuck in our heads, like it didn't come out this way, or it didn't, and we get self-critical. But it's having just that fun in that moment.
Is drawing a stick figure as beneficial for art and art therapy as just drawing something really, perfect?
Absolutely. There's artists that have made thousands of dollars off a stick figure drawing.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's how we
I need to
perceive,
try that. Yes.
Yep. How do we perceive art?
Mm-hmm.
It's in the beholder. But yes, absolutely. There's, and the beautiful thing about, this type of art is that you're not in school, you're not being graded, there's no judgment. It's
Mm-hmm.
simply enjoying. And that's what I love about art therapy is it's about the process.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoying that process of making art. Art therapy is a little different, because then we're going to go back and kind of talk about that now. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to get constructive in talking about it. But for the art,
Mm-hmm.
just for the, the non-artist, but I think there's an artist in all of us.
I
It's
do
just,
too.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of, doing different things. Collage, go out and find nature, some pine cones, leaves, shells, whatever that might be, doing a texture
Mm-hmm.
collage. There's so
Right.
many different things to do. And then your phone, oh my gosh, there's so many free apps that you can download on your phone for filters and creating
Mm-hmm.
pictures. You can do photo collages and all kinds of fun things.
Right. believe it or not, my mother has done those things. And I'm like, Mom, how did you do that? Because I do not have any idea. But it's something she found on her phone. And bless her, she's 92 years old now. And there are a few things she can do on her phone or her tablet that I can't do. So this
Awesome.
is not something you can say you age out of, because it
Exactly.
really is a matter of motivation and what you want to do and what you put an effort into doing. And so all of those things I think are good for the brain. And when I started out, I said, it's the process that counts, not the results. And I really meant that. And I truly believe that, because the therapeutic benefits and the stress relief and all that calm is going to come just by doing the activity. Doesn't matter how it turns out, really.
Exactly.
Really. Okay. Well, as we come to a close, what kinds of resources exist to help people make art? And are there any virtual programs available for caregivers and their loved ones that you can think of?
The wonderful thing with art is that there's an abundance of it. There's things you can find on YouTube, going to Dick Blick or Amazon, the ACAP store, all kinds of activities. For virtual programs, the Yale University Art Gallery hosts a program called Arts and Mind, and it's free. You just, sign up for it through
Excellent.
the Yale Gallery. You just can call or email and sign up for the program Arts and Mind, and they'll send you the Zoom link. This is for people living with dementia, but it's also for caregivers. And we've had caregivers who've lost their loved ones that still come because it's a nice social support for them and an opportunity for them to get creative. Because we're looking at pieces of art in the exhibit, and then we have the opportunity to get creative ourselves, and we can share that at the end. There's also the Meet Me at Smithsonian, and there's another program called Art to Life, Arts and Mind in New York City. They offer a program, but just there's a lot of abundance out there, and I'm happy to offer any resources I can.
Wonderful. For those who are listening or watching today, we will include a lot of that information in the video description below your screen. So please be sure to check that out before you leave our podcast, because there will be some great resources there for you. Okay, well, this is all very fascinating. And, when you see art therapy, you tend to think, oh, that's very formal. And it can be, and I know that. But for caregivers and their loved ones, really, it's just a matter of what you want to do. And whether you have a little bit of time that you can just sit and doodle something on a piece of paper or whatever the case may be. You may discover you're a great artist and not know it. In fact, I have only been doing art for the last few years, and so I was delighted to find out that I actually have some talent for it. And it is being a great stress relief to me, and something that I am pursuing with somewhat of a vengeance. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that. Angel, I want to thank you for sharing your time today with ACAP and with our viewing audience. I'm excited to get home and de-stress with a little bit of art therapy this afternoon. I will be delighted to do that. That is a great way to kick off my weekend. Can't wait. And we're very grateful for your insights.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I want to thank you, our viewers and listeners. Hopefully you've gotten some ideas this afternoon about what you can do to get some stress relief, especially as the holidays are coming, or anytime really. In case you missed it in our first Friday's broadcast in November, we talked about our new shopping guide for caregivers. If you'd like to pick up some reasonably priced art supplies for your own creativity or for a loved one, please be sure to check out the shopping guide through our website at acapcommunity.org/shopping-guide. That will also be in the video description for you after the broadcast. You will also find that on our website. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to click that like button below your screen. If you'd like to hear more of our broadcast, hit the subscribe button as well. And keep in mind that you can share today's podcast with your family and friends by clicking the share button. We also want to say thank you to Senior TLC, formerly known as PACE at Home in Newton, North Carolina, for sponsoring our Caregiver Community podcast, and to Every Age, our sustaining partner. Please join us again on Friday, January 2nd, 2026 for our next episode. We've scheduled an important program about practical aspects of medication management. Finally, we have a rapidly growing number of local community chapters offering in-person monthly programs. You can find more information on that on our website as well. Until next time, be well, happy holidays, and bye for now.